2012 meeting of the Ascension Gravity Drainage District. Would everyone please stand for the invocation by Councilman Chris Lord, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, as we gather here tonight in this first week of school, we just ask that you give a special blessing to all the children in this parish, that they have a school year filled with learning and fun, and we just also ask a special blessing on their safety, and also keep in mind all of our other loved ones as they travel this parish as well. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chris. Madam Secretary, roll call. Please note that all members are present. Mr. Chairman. I apologize. We have one out. Brian Malone. Public comment period. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item, please sign in with the secretary and you'll be given time when that item comes up. There's no addition to the agenda. And right now the chair would accept the motion to approve the minutes of the July 9th, 2012 meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Ms. Terry Cazzo. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. I don't have anything on the chairman's report. We'll move on to the drainage report. Mr. Rue.
Yes, sir. Handed out a monthly drainage report to everyone, and I'll be glad to answer any questions, concerns. I won't go through it specifically. You have time to review it. Again, I'll try to answer any questions tonight. If not, give me a call in the morning. I can get with you and take care of any concerns you may have. Needless to say, there's very little changes in this report from last on our major projects. Working through a few issues, but nothing substantial. And we will discuss in executive session some other concerns.
I know we got the projects going good right now. I just want to let everybody know that we're moving along and trying to get squared away on the Law Ridge Levee extension. And
in fact, I have Jake Lambert with GSA is moving forward with some right-of-way, I think, and surveying. If I can get him to give a little report.
Mr. Lambert, could you give us a little update on the Law Ridge Levee extension?
My name's Jake Lambert. I'm with Glenn Shaheen and Associates. We're working with the East Ascension Gravity Drainage District and also Pontchartrain Levee District to complete the extension of the Law Ridge Levee. We received a task order about a month ago to continue our work in the permitting phase of this project. We anticipate this, we're calling it the preliminary permitting, which is basically a data collection. We're doing going to be over the next month and a half or so, we're going to be doing some surveying out there to help further refine the alignment, the proposed alignment of the levee. We're also going to be doing some environmental evaluations, basically doing some delineation of the wetlands in the area, in the basin, so that we can present that information to the Corps to help move our permitting process forward. We anticipate this initial phase to take over the next month or two. Of course, from there we would have to develop the 30% set of plans, and then at that point is when you actually submit your permit application. So this initial phase is just to complete the data gathering. What we didn't want to do when we did our feasibility study over the last year and a half or so, several years, we didn't want to go and spend a whole bunch of money up front and then find out that we didn't have a project that made sense financially. So this next step that we've just entered is kind of saying let's get a little bit more of that data, bite off a little bit more chunks so that we can go actually move forward in our discussions that we've been having now for a couple of years with the Corps. So
once more, we feel like the path that
trying to move forward, yes, sir. We the Corps they're never going to give you a ruling until you actually make a permit application. But we've worked hard to keep them abreast of the progress and also include them on the progress we've made and feel like that they're aware of what's going on. We're trying to anticipate any concerns that they're going to have regarding the environmental concerns, flood storage, floodplain mitigation issues, and part of the effort that we're going through now is to collect that data to prove to those guys or to be able to verify for them, in fact, have the data to rebut any concerns that they would have. So, working very closely with the Pontchartrain Levee District on this project as well. They've been very supportive of the efforts and are, as best I can appreciate it, are eager to assist East Ascension Gravity Drainage District in any way possible. So just want to let you know that. It's going to take time. It's a slow process.
Quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr.
Jake,
Lambert.
Yes,
you
sir.
said right away. Are you working that, or who's working right away?
What we're doing, we want to get the Corps to buy in to the alignment. They've seen it. We've got a little bit more refining to do. It's not set in stone, but we know about where we want to go, where we need to go, based on the calculations, the engineering behind it. The process of actually acquiring right-of-way and those easements that would ultimately be required has not begun and will probably not begin until we're a little further along in the permitting process. So that's something that's kind of you have to do towards the end of the once you're a little bit further down the road.
Okay.
That's all you got, Mr. Lambert?
Yeah.
And Jake, based on this portion of the project and what you're looking at, so you're basically looking at going for the permit.
We hope by the end of the year we're pretty close to that.
We hope so too.
So it's amazing the inertia that has to be encountered. I mean, things take quite a while, but we're working towards those efforts as diligently as possible.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Shake Snyder.
Bill, I know it's not the extension, but the Panama Conway, I know you said they were working to try to get, they had some monies to see about getting the outlet improved.
Jake can answer something.
Has there been any progress on that?
Well, very little at this point. To be honest, best information that I have is that we need to probably regroup with the levee district and determine exactly how this board would like to proceed. We kind of have a good direction through our efforts, our study that we did almost a year and a half ago. We provided a handful of alternatives, some of which were things that the drainage board could do themselves, snagging and clearing of the bayou and some of those efforts, but there were also some other major channel improvements that we recommended, and we've had some discussions. I would suggest that if it's, and I know they are a priority, but
Bill, could you set up a meeting so that
maybe
we
get a
can
meeting
discuss
would
it
be
and see
probably the
where?
best thing.
Yes, and in fact, we talked a little bit about it. I think for your benefit and the parish president, we need to see a hydraulic analysis of the bayou before and after the proposed project, so we can see. And I think the Corps needs something like that too, to see exactly how beneficial the project going to be when it's completed. And I think we're going to work with GSA on providing that for us too. Because we, we need
Well,
something on paper.
I thought that was basically you did a hydraulic analysis of the canal as part of the original study.
Yes, sir. We've got, for most of the channel improvements, we've got the existing and proposed conditions, but one of the areas that one of the first areas that we discovered, we'll probably need a little bit more survey data to actually, we had to make a lot of estimates. We didn't, once again, when we enter into these efforts, we try to not spend so much money on the front end so that if we find, we're looking for the best path to go forward, but once we figure out an alternative, like the first leg that we're proposing to do is open up some channels that are silted in. We didn't have good survey data, so we've made a lot of assumptions, and so we may need a little bit more data to really finalize the game plan on that. But
Bill, would you set
all
up
of
a
that's
meeting where
close.
we can meet and establish, where we're going to head from here and what we need to do? I appreciate it.
Yes, and like Dick was saying, part of the new deal is taking a bypass around a different route, and I think we need to get a little bit more data on it and the benefits of that before we kind of go too far with it.
Yeah, because, it's been a year and a half since we did the study. I don't want to let the study go into the point where we can't use it anymore. Spend a lot of money on that. Appreciate it.
Well, that'd be good, Kent, because like I said, based on our last meeting that we had, that there's some alternatives there that you may be aware of from the past, but that'll help out that project. Anybody else? Anything more, Ms. Jakes?
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? With that being said, we'll move on to agenda item number 7, Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, 1603-005-0001, Elevation Project Site number 1704-704. Mr. Rue.
We're asking for the motion, East Ascension Gravity Drainage District Number 1, to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the homeowner for the elevation of Site Number 1-704 in the amount of $115,160 under HMGP 1603-005-0001 in accordance with all FEMA required regulations.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 8.
Yes, sir. Asking for the motion, East Ascension Gravity Drainage District Number 1, to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with homeowner for the elevation of Site Number 3-39344 in the amount of $85,402 under ATMGP 1603-005-0001 in accordance with all FEMA required regulations.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Mr. Todd Lambert,
Second.
second by Mr. Terry Cazzo. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. Agenda item number 9.
I ask for the motion, East Ascension Gravity Drainage District Number 1, to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to enter into a cooperative agreement with homeowner for the elevation of Site Number 4-18580 in the amount of $179,368 under HMGP 1603-005-0001 in accordance with all FEMA regulations.
Motion by Mr. Dempsey Lambert,
Second.
second by Mr. Sadlerly. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. Agenda item number 10.
Asking for the motion, East Ascension Gravity Drainage District Number 1, to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with homeowner for the elevation of Site Number 6-41255 in the amount of $126,495 under HMGP 1603-005-0001 in accordance with all FEMA required regulations.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Todd Lambert,
Second.
second by Mr. Sadlerly. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 11.
I ask for the motion, East Consolidated Gravity Drainage District Number 1, to authorize Parish President Tommy Martinez to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with homeowner for the elevation of Site Number 8-18361 in the amount of $178,987 under HMGP 1603-005-0001 in accordance with all FEMA required regulations.
Motion. Motion. Motion by Mr. Benny Johnson, second by Mr. Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 12.
Asking the motion, East Ascension Gravity Drainage District Number 1 to authorize Parish President Thompson Martinez to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with homeowner for the elevation of site number 9-18564 in the amount of $192,371 under HMGP 1603-005-0001 in accordance with all FEMA required regulations.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lohr,
Second.
second by Mr. Todd Lambert. Discussion?
One discussion.
I said,
Yeah, Bill, all these are with the Gustav money,
Pretty much.
FEMA.
It's still under that, the original grant.
Katrina, it's all the way back from Katrina, okay.
yes.
Just to let the people
Yeah,
know.
and
This
it's all grant, like,
this is all grant money. It's
Grant
not
money.
nothing, I just want to let everybody know that it's not
Yeah.
coming out of
I was gonna
drainage
wait,
fund.
I was gonna wait for the last one to let Martha get up, because,
Yeah.
some of the questions by some of the newer council members is basically long-term. This takes a long time. This is all federal money that people have,
And there's one other thing, because it's FEMA and everything, it has to be confidential. That's why you can't have any names
Right.
put on any of these properties. That's why, any of y'all had any questions
and
about
that's why
that.
we go with a formal motion each one, so everything can be sent separately to FEMA, to justify the grant and to document everything going on.
is basically applications by residents of the parish and the East Ascension Drainage District that we, administer the federal money through.
And we kind of like a pass-through. It comes through us. We actually pay for it. You, the Drainage Board, pays for it, but we get reimbursed from FEMA for our costs to the parish.
And, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the administration, is that they do cover the administration cost of this effort, okay? So FEMA does cover the administration cost.
One quick, and it does have to be a repetitious flooding in order for this to happen. It can't be just a one-time flooding. It has to be maybe 3 or 4 repetitious.
And they have to
flooding.
have flood insurance at the time
So-
and collect on the flood insurance and so forth,
The background on it.
and then repetitive flooding.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So that kind of explains the dollar figures we were throwing out here. But, any further discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. Chair would entertain a motion to go into executive session. We have a motion by Mr. Benny Johnson, second by
Ms. Caswell will be fine.
Ms. Cazzo. Any opposition?
Roll call, Mr. Chairman.
Roll call.
Mr. Shake Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Sadley?
Yes.
Mr. Dempsey Lambert?
Yes.
Mr. Chris Lohr?
Yes.
Ms. Terry Cazzo?
Yes.
Mr. Todd Lambert?
Yes.
Mr. Benny Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passed.
We are adjourned to executive session.
Can't do anything to you.
Motion to reconvene, Mr. Chairman.
We have a
Second.
motion to reconvene by Mr. Benny Johnson, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion, any opposition? We are back in session.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we extend emergency operations for Frog Bayou for another 30 days.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Shake Snyder to extend the emergency declaration 30 more days for the Frog Bayou lock repairs. And we have a second by Mr. Benny Johnson, or Mr. Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 14.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Mr. Todd Lambert to adjourn, second by Mr. Benny Johnson. Any discussion? Any opposition? We are adjourned.
Okay.